Hey y'all, welcome to the Plastic Army Men podcast. This is the first episode. I'm so excited. We've got a great docket for you today. We've got interview with a fantabulous Army Men creator, Alan He. We've got a game guest, the Army Men creator. We've got hype for a brand new stop motion animation coming out and a stop motion challenge for all of you, as well as a short little stop motion animation at the end of this episode. So stick around for that. Anyway, let's get into the interview with Alan He. Right, and now we're on to the creator spotlight. We've got a community Q&A as well as some of my questions, and my guest today is Alan He. Do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Hello. Um, so I have a channel, Alan P. It's kind of small, like 1K subscribers. I post every half a year. So, yeah.
Well, now he's being just modest because he has some of the best Army Man animations that frankly, I've ever seen. These are frankly really good, and then we have got a lot of questions. I think we're gonna start off with the community questions, and I suppose if any of my questions get answered, I won't have to ask them. So,
Okay.
first things first, we've got Klaus Karner and Plastic Imperial Studios essentially asked the same question. What is your next stop motion going to be about?
Um, it's going to be a continuation of Baptism by Fire.
Yeah, that was a
So,
terrific animation I saw.
thank you. So it's going to pick off right after the Lone Blue. That's what I call him, the Lone Blue. So
Mm-hmm.
it's picking off after the storyline from Sniper Strife, the International, and then Baptism by Fire. That's all I can say. I don't want to spoil the plot or anything, so yeah, that's all I can say right now.
Yeah, of course. And this next question by that one gray officer, what frame rate do you use? I did notice that your animations look very, very smooth, so I'm also curious about this one. What is your frame rate?
Um, from my frame rate, I usually use between 10 to 12. I usually go to around 10 if I want it to the film to be longer, but I usually go for 12 if I want to go for more fluid motions, if that makes sense.
Hmm. That surprises me. I thought they were, I thought it would have been higher. That's not an insult or anything, but I think it really does look good
No, that's fine.
with that. So, this next one, it's two questions by Lord Cooler Stop Motion. What editing software do you use? And I'll ask the next question later.
Hmm. Um, my editing software, it's nothing fancy. It's a free one called Shotcut, I believe. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure it was Dan's that introduced it to me like a couple years back, and I've been using it ever since.
Hmm.
Though it does drain your CPU a lot. So yeah, just be aware of that.
Yes, is this on a specific platform like Mac or Windows or?
Um, for me, I've been doing it on Windows. I'm not sure about the other platforms. I
Mm-hmm.
do. It is on a PC thing, so if you're on mobile, then tough luck.
All right, and this next question that they ask is, and who inspired you to start making stop motions?
Oh my god, I knew I was gonna get asked this.
Yes.
The one creator that inspired me to do all of this was Micamations.
Make
The farm campaign, the house campaign.
yes.
A couple years back, I watched all the episodes and I was caught up on all the lore. And yeah, I sometimes still go back and watch it to this day.
Yeah. I do feel like there's a pretty clear distinction between the waves of Army Men creators. You got the OGs like Michael Ackerman who were inspired probably by like Saving Private Ryan. And then you've got
Mm-hmm.
the second wavers like the General Mo who were inspired by Plastic Apocalypse. And then you've got I feel like the
Right.
third wavers like us who were inspired by the people who were inspired by Plastic Apocalypse. So I think that's a very interesting distinction there.
Yeah.
And
You
this
got
next
continuous waves.
yeah. I wonder what the
Sorry.
next one. I just got a comment the other day saying that someone was inspired by my stuff, and I was like, really? My stuff is garbage. So that was pretty
That's
interesting.
awesome. That's awesome.
This next one here. Did you, or excuse me, by Cold Steel Animations, did you expect the International to get successful and did you plan on making a small series from it? I'm assuming Baptism by Fire is a continuation.
Um, yes, it is a continuation. However, I didn't really expect anything past like the Eastern Front to get really popular. Cause I don't know during the early years, when I usually posted more consistently, my videos would garner a lot more attention. But obviously, I've gone on a hiatus for a couple years, so anything I post beyond that point, I'm not really expecting to gain attention or notoriety. I'm
Mhm.
just doing it out of you know, fun.
All right, all right. This next question here is by Blue Soldier Productions. Are you planning on making a big series with voice actors in it?
Um, no, I do not. I've mainly learned this from watching Mechamations and some other uh plastic armament creators.
Yeah.
I've noticed that when you use, okay, I'm not gonna not to offend the community or anything, but I think it's safe to say that the community has a lack of talented voice actors. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, but I think that's the case for our community. And I kind of want like my films and ideas to be portrayed in a kind of serious and dramatic way. And I think the lackluster voice acting kind of takes away from that element. So I usually try to stray away from voice acting in my films as much as possible. Though I do understand the appeal of storytelling with voice acting that you can't get with sound effects and voice lines. Because what I usually do is I use voice lines from video games to substitute for voice acting.
Yeah, I mean I have noticed that with the voice actors, the people who are like really good never volunteer for voice acting. And
Yeah,
so it's very hard and you don't want to like petition them cuz so I don't sometimes you like have to I don't know, just do all the voices yourself or as people and kind of gamble. Are you going to get good voice actors? And so it is a gamble, and I do respect you not using voice lines. I don't think they detract from the films at all. I think they make them quite good actually. And this next thing here from Man, I couldn't find their YouTube name, but what motivates you to keep on making such smooth army men videos?
honestly, what inspires me to continue this is just kind of seeing like the fan interactions and um like the commotion I've stirred up. Because I used to be inspired by Mechamations and some other Armament creators, and I'd be watching them and be like, damn, I probably would never have that same effect. And a couple of years later, me mimicking that same effect, I'm just like, wow, I'm able to inspire other people to create their own things, which I think motivates me to make more of these videos.
Yeah, that's pretty good motivation, I suppose. So, and okay, hold up. Does pineapple belong on pizza by Vermart Vermarty, whatever. What is your answer to
Um, no, I
that?
don't like pineapple on my pizza.
Blasphemy.
I'm just saying.
So I'm in the other camp. I like pineapple on pizza. Hate me. My apologies. But I
No, no,
like
that's
it.
fine. This is your podcast.
You're off the show. Get out.
Oops. Oh,
Right.
okay.
Plastic Now asks, what other Army Men plans do you have?
Um, I think my main goal is to complete the sequel to
Mhm.
the little storyline I have. But looking past that, I might create like another Eastern Front video if I ever get my hands on Russian airfix, but that's
Okay.
probably not gonna ever happen. So yeah.
I guess a question that I have now, I'm just thinking about it. Was there ever, or I
hmm
suppose, is there like an idea or a project that you had that you, I suppose, don't right now have the materials to make, or you don't think you're ever gonna make it? Like, I mean, do you have any sort of, I guess, grandiose ideas, maybe like a giant beach landing or like something like that?
Yeah, I actually do. I was a couple years back. I was planning on doing a like a full out naval stop motion. I have I built up a pretty good navy for both sides, and I wanna film it out, but I lack the space to do so because one of these ships they take up like my entire set. So in order
Oh
to
wow,
get the scale I wanted to, I'd have to empty out like my entire house or rent a warehouse or something, which is definitely not possible.
that is wild.
So I just have a couple of cardboard warships just rotting in storage right now. So
That's a shame.
hopefully I can find a use for them in the future.
Yeah, if that ever goes out, I mean, I think there aren't too many naval battles up on Army Men or Army Men naval battles up on YouTube, so I think that would probably be an instant at least. It would stand out instantly and certainly fill a niche that isn't currently being filled, I suppose. And the
Right.
last question from the community, and I'll sort of fill in my own questions here that I don't think were uh, good questions that weren't asked, but Board Boy asks, will you ever see the lad from Sniper Strife group up with the survivors from the International and Baptism by Fire, or is he on his own?
Um, I don't think I can answer that.
Ooh,
Just to save the plot for the next one.
mystery. All right, I like it. Hyping it up. All right.
Cliffhanger.
So I guess my questions here are, so I noticed that, I mean, at least recently you've been like filming on carpet. Is that like more difficult than filming on that like dirt set that you have, or do you I don't know, what is the easiest, what's the hardest? Do you ever film on just like flat plain surfaces?
Um, I feel like the easiest would definitely be a hard surface, like a table or something like that. And the
Mm-hmm.
dirt set that you were talking about from a couple years back, yeah, that's gone. That set is like completely dismantled, so
Oh,
there's no coming back to that. So I just been filming on carpet ever since, just because of its availability.
yeah. How much time do you like make building sets, or I know you make cardboard tanks and stuff. Was that a hobby that you had before Army Men, or was that sort of supplemental to your Army Men stuff?
That was a hobby I had before this whole animation thing. I actually watched Mechamations. No, not sorry, not Mechamations. Nim Productions in his little cardboard tank making series back in the day, and I got really inspired by that. So I started making my own, and I got a, I got decent at it. So I just decided to merge it with my animations. You know.
Well, I mean, they look great. I mean, it's certainly a way to, I guess, just make the figurines that you don't currently have or aren't currently being produced. So that's certainly a very creative way to fill in those gaps. And speaking of figurines, what's your favorite brand of Army Men figures? Do you have one?
Um, I would say armies in plastic just to be safe, just because they're kind of cheap and I have a lot of them. I understand the appeal for like other brands such
Mhm.
as Airfix and etc., but they're mad expensive and I don't have the money for that.
Yeah. I mean, it also, I mean, I don't know about you, but I've kind of don't really know where to find them. So, I mean, I except on
That's true.
eBay, I think they've got like, but they're not always there as far as I know.
Right.
And
The scarcity of it as well.
yeah, I mean, I guess that's also sort of adds to the appeal is not everyone has them, and that they really stand out in a film, and it sort of, I guess, it's also sort of a way I think when you have them to sort of just brag about your collection, to just have them in the in your little film. But so where do you I said, where do you get your figures? So are you a collector? Have you like had these before, or did you like get them specifically for Army Men animation?
I've been a collector before animation. I actually used to collect them with my little brother, and
Oh,
we've yeah, we've garnered a pretty decent collection. Though we have stopped collecting though, just because of the space
all
and
right.
financial shit.
How big do you think I suppose what is your biggest army, and how big do you think it is?
Honestly, I'd say my green army is probably the biggest. Probably size probably around probably I'd say 1,000 figures
Thousand
just to be
figures.
safe. Yeah, just because of how common the color green is in Army Men and how available it is in
Yeah.
lots and other stuff. So I've built up a pretty big green collection.
I have noticed, and more recently, because the other day I was just looking on like Walmart.com, there's a severe lack, I think, of like figure. There, everything's just green, so
Right.
it's. I think it's a lot harder to even get the number two, or at least it's just not as available as it once was. But what do you think is like your, I suppose, your most rare or your most uh, uncommon either figure or like accessory, something like that. What do you think yours is?
Like my rarest item.
I suppose so, or something like I noticed in one of your films you had those little cannons that they're like tan and they've got the metal plating in the front, and I'm pretty sure those are at least pretty rare because I
Oh,
can't
those.
find them anywhere.
Those used to be on Amazon for bulk back in the day.
Oh my
So I
god.
just got like one or two packs of those. So I guess I was lucky.
I was born too late. I need to go back in time. I got into Army Men too late. I missed the prime.
Yeah, that sucks.
So what or excuse me. So if you had to like branch out into other types of films, I guess first, if you had to do another kind of stop motion, what would you do? And if you couldn't do stop motion, what would you do on YouTube in just general?
If I had to do a different branch of stop motion, I'd probably say Lego. I've been watching some pretty excellent top-notch brick films, and I kind of want to get into that. However, my wallets cannot sustain, so that's probably not ever gonna happen. If I didn't do stop motion, I'd probably just be posting like video game footage.
Video games?
Yeah,
What are you a Warhammer guy? Because I know that is popular in the Army Men community, at least with General Mo, as far as I know.
yeah, that is it is pretty popular. However, I don't consider myself to be a Warhammer guy, unfortunately, or fortunately, or whatever.
I've never played it, so I don't know if it's good. I mean, it has. I suppose it has to be for anyone to like it, but in it, I guess looking at your most recent film, of course, Baptism by Fire. How long did it take you to make? Or I think you did say you took a long time on that. If you were like completely devoted, like not taking any breaks or whatever, how long would it take you to make a film of that size and scale?
To get another film of that size again would probably take maybe 6 months of just pure animation and editing.
Oh wow.
Because it took, yeah, it took a year to make the international just because of the set material and the preparation for all of that.
That
However,
is half
going
the
into
work.
Baptism by Fire, the set was already made, so I didn't have to spend time building set material. I could just go straight into the animation.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, preparation is half the work. Speaking of preparation, how much do you, I suppose, prepare for making each shot? As I looked back at some of your old films, those are some of the most complicated shots. Like there'll be three things happening, and then it'll be like people get blown up and stuff. how like do you storyboard? Do you just kind of make it up on the way?
I winged the entire thing. I've never storyboarded.
Oh,
I've never wrote out what was gonna happen. Like, oh, the camera's gonna go here, and these guys are gonna go there. I just winged the entire thing. I just go, hey, I'm animate today. I just put a bunch of buildings together, and yeah, that's the film of the day.
that's impressive. I mean, I feel like you just sort of. I mean, you don't even need to put any effort into being a good director. I guess it just all sort of comes to you. Um, what have you ever like? Or I suppose what's the most complicated shot that you've goofed? Like you maybe you've knocked over the camera, or like one of the things where you like will mutilate an army man, but you, I don't know, you accidentally bump the camera and you have to go back and like fix it or whatever. What's something? I guess just tell me a story about something like that when it's happened, or if it's happened.
Um, I'd say some of the most complicated shots are the smoke explosion effects. Those are uh, pain in the butt to film. And the most complicated, or the most tedious shot was the Japanese mortar firing in the international.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you go into the deleted scenes, there's I think multiple cuts of the initial mortar explosion just because it was so difficult to animate. It's hard to manipulate the cotton balls and the paper towels in that arrangement. So most of the time they just kept falling over and over, and I had to restart multiple times for that shot, and it was incredibly frustrating.
I'm frustrated
But
just hearing it.
in the end, I got the shot I wanted, and I'd say it looks pretty nice.
Yeah. And speaking of the muzzle flashes, I just remembered I forgot to ask you one of the community questions by Lord Cooler. Why do you use paper
Hmm.
muzzle flashes and how do you make them? I did notice at one point you did use effects. Was there a reason that you switched back?
Um, yes, there was. The reason why, no, initially I used paper towels to make my muzzle flashes. Then I switched to gun movie effects, which a lot of other creators use.
Hmm.
But then I switched back just because of how slow it was. I would be putting muzzle flashes in and out, and then when I press save, it would take a good 10 minutes for my slow ass phone oh,
Yeah.
to process all of that. And sometimes it wouldn't even save all the way. I'd come back a couple minutes later and nothing's changed, and all the flashes were removed, and I felt that was incredibly frustrating. So I felt like if I just added the paper flashes manually in the shot, that'd be more reliable on my end. So
So the
yeah,
muzzle flash. Oh, sorry. What were you gonna say?
no, sorry, I wasn't gonna say anything.
Oh, so the muzzle flashes are, I mean, just ripped paper towels, but the, I guess, tracer rounds or the bullets flying by. What are those? How did those get made?
Um, yeah, they're just raw spaghetti sticks.
Really?
Mm, Yeah, I was just going through my kitchen drawer, and then I said, this looks flashy enough to be a bullet tracer. So yeah, I just been using spaghetti sticks.
Yeah, I was like on your videos. I'm like trying to pause. I'm like, what are those? It's actually that's like really funny. um,
Yeah,
but I suppose I mean those really the muzzle flashes and the bullets flying by, as well as like the fact that you use those um a very specific like voicing and stuff that you said. I think really makes your animations stand out, and that's why I think like if you just showed any of your animations, you I mean most people would probably be able to like, oh, that's Alan he did, you know, that's the guy who did Baptism by Fire, because it's just very recognizable. I think, you know, you the uh Michael Ackerman had like the ripping apart the army men, and I guess a somewhat slow frame rate, and I
right.
feel like this, you know, General Mo's got a little bit of comedy, and I feel like this is what you got that everyone can sort of uh see. And I suppose do you going back to the earlier questions that I had, so do you write a script? I mean, you said you don't storyboard, but do you have like a general like flow? I want this to happen, then I want this to happen, or is it just all in
Yeah,
your head?
I do have like a general idea of what is going to happen. I write my ideas down in like a little notebook, and then when it comes to composing the final product, I look back on all my little ideas I garnered up for this film, and I go, so which ideas should I incorporate that would, like best illustrate my goal,
All right.
and I just put it in a chronological order, which I feel is best, and yeah, I just animate based off that.
Okay. So, I mean, you're at 1,000 subscribers right now, which is criminally low. I mean, your animation, as I said earlier, are some of the best that I've seen being made nowadays. When you were first started, or when you were first starting, like, did you? I mean, I know you said that you were trying to like do something like Mick animation, or excuse me, Mickamations, but were you thinking that like, oh, I want to be famous or whatever? Like, what you I suppose what was your thoughts when you were starting up on YouTube?
My thoughts was I was just trying to, create like a little funny animation. I'm heavily based off of Mechamations. I never really wanted like massive like internet fame or attention. I was never really that ambitious. I just wanted to create, a funny Iron Man story, and it stemmed from there into something more serious, I would say.
All right. Well, anyway, I think that's gonna wrap up this little Q&A here. Thank you so much. This is Alan He. Go check
Mm-hmm.
out his YouTube channel. I'll put a
Thank
link
you
down
for
in the
having me.
description. Thank you so much for coming on. It was very enjoyable. I hope maybe sometime later we can have you on the podcast again.
I would hope so too.
Well, thank you so much. We're going to move on to our next segment. All right, so now we're going to move on to Toy Soldier Trivia. We've got Blue Soldier Productions here and Klaus Carner Studios. If you guys just want to say hi real quick.
Hello. Yo, hi guys.
And also props to Jacobra for inventing this format. I just kind of ripped it from him. But anyway, so here's how this works. I've got an Armyman creator, and I've got 5 hints that I'm going to give both of you, and you're going to have to guess who it is. I'll give you each hint one at a time, and you'll have 3 tries to guess that individual. Of course, whoever guesses first correctly will win. And if you run out of guesses, then you lose, I suppose. So don't guess erroneously more than 3 times.
All right.
We understand everything? You guys got it?
Yep.
All right. So the first hint, number 1. The most recent video that they have uploaded involves music rather than stop motion animation. We're going to start off a little bit vague.
This is the Plastic Purge series.
Sorry, was that an actual guess or were you joking?
No, it is the Plastic Purge series because he released a video called wait a second. No, that might be wrong. Oh, I forgot. That was his second last video he made. Hold on, let me think.
It's all right if you don't have an answer now. We've got 4 more hints to go. I'm starting off vague, and I'm going to get a bit more specific as the more hints we go. I didn't want to give it away the first time.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm out for this. I'm not sure which for now.
All right. Any guesses from you, Blue?
It's not Green Soldier Productions.
I don't know. It might be.
And you said it's a recent music video?
The most recent video that they have uploaded involves music rather than stop motion animation. And you are welcome to have other tabs open while you're looking for this. I don't want you to feel like you just have to be in this call. You can go ahead and scour the internet.
Oh, I feel like I might know who this is. I think I might know who this is.
You think? Well, are you locking in a guess, or do you want me to move on to hit number 2?
Move on to hint number 2, I think.
All right.
Number 2, yes.
Hint number 2. Their last Armymen upload occurred 8 years ago. 8
years ago?
Okay. Okay, yeah, definitely not someone I was thinking of.
All right, good thing we got that hint done. You would have had a wrong answer there. So, any guesses though? Any guesses?
Oh my, 8 years ago. So it must have been someone who's, old. I mean, in the community. So
Yes,
who?
yes.
But I don't think their channel isn't really alive.
Hmm. Without
Hold on.
that's possible. I don't want to. That's not one of the hints. But I will.
Exactly. I gotta go into this.
So, are there any guesses, or would you like me to move on to hint number 3?
I'd say hit number 3. I'm not.
That's number 3.
8 years ago is pretty insane.
All right, we're gonna get a bit more specific. So they are more likely going to be known for their contributions to other Army Men videos rather than their own videos, which is a bit strange, but I think a pretty interesting hint. I think you're gonna figure it out once I give you the answer, or you might figure it out with some of these further hints.
Huh.
I have no memory of watching an old Army Men video that's 8 years ago, but I'll
Well,
try.
that's the thing. They last uploaded 8 years ago. That was a music video. That's the thing.
Or, well, I never said that. I said their last Army Men upload was 8 years ago. Their most recent upload, which was not Army Men, involved music.
Oh. Oh shoot. Music. Okay. Okay.
I mean,
Uh.
all
Huh.
right. So
I still have no idea.
still have no idea.
Man,
I think you'll get it once I give you the answer. Or hey, you might get it with these next few hints. We got 2 more hints. I think some of you might figure it out.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. 8 years ago, man, that's tough.
All right. We all good to move on to hint number 4?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right. This one, I think you might get this one. He has been featured in the credits of most of the General Mo's Army Men animations since Prisoners of Eastern Island, excluding, well, shorts.
Oh.
Oh,
So he's in the credits of most of the General Mo's Army Men videos since Prisoners of Eastern Island.
Okay. That's good to know. Yeah.
So any ideas? You could go look on his channel and go maybe take a look, but you're also gonna be competing against the other guy, so I do it quickly.
Exactly.
So any guesses? We've got one more hint left.
Hold on. I gotta look at the credits.
Look at the credits. Well, hey, I mean, I don't know. I could do this last hint here. There isn't a time limit, but I might have to. We can't just be here forever.
Exactly.
yeah.
So any hints from you, Blue? Any hints from Klaus?
I'm still thinking, what's the voice actor's name in the credits?
Okay, it's not. Must be this guy.
All right, we've got one more hint.
Oh.
Does anyone? Did you got an answer?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it was like that, but it is Frog Stomp 27. I literally had to go to the General Mo's video and look it up.
Are you locking that
Wait,
answer in?
Aiden Heike?
I'm locking it in. I'm
You're
locking it in.
All right.
Wait,
You are
you meant,
correct.
like,
It is that his other name is Aiden Hickey. You're right. Sorry, Blue.
the
Klaus was too
sound
quick.
effect. The sound effect guy.
Yes, I was gonna say that the final hint was he is known to provide it sound effects for many of the classic Army Men YouTubers. So that he has uploaded Army Men videos, but he's more known for the sound effects. So I thought this would be a very interesting one to do.
The fifth hint got me straight away. That guy making sound effects.
Yeah, so I think that was a very interesting one because it's not one that you might be automatically thinking of when you hear Army Men creator, but still an Army Men creator. All right, so yes, and that is Aiden Hickey or Frog Stomp 27. So anyway, yeah, thank you so much, Klaus. Looks like you won. Blue, better luck next time. And that was Toy Soldier Trivia. Thank you guys so much for playing.
All right. Thank you, Crisis Monday, for making me, for having me on, basically.
All right, all right. We're gonna move on to our next segment here. And next up, we have Stop Motion Spotlight, and we've got Cold Steel Animations here. He is a YouTuber since 2023, somewhat new, but certainly a lot of potential. I heard he was going to be making a new animation, so if you could just introduce yourself real quick.
Yep. Hello, I am Cold Steel Animations, and I make stop motions.
So, just tell us a little bit about this new animation. What do you got planned? What's going on with it?
It's probably going to be my most ambitious project yet. It's a trench style combat video with trench warfare, obviously, and just a very large assault.
I did notice that you put a photo of like a trench outside or perhaps in some dirt. So, could you just tell us a little bit more about the setting? Like, what is it going to look like?
Just like a very like barren kind of what you would expect from like a World War I movie scene.
All right, all right. So is this based World War One or based around World War One?
Kind of the style of combat, but has more World War II like figures and
Figures,
that kind
yeah.
of stuff.
You know, speaking of figures, I noticed that you did have French and Indian War figures for one of your animations. Did you pick up any new figures for this one? Any new props? Anything new with this one?
No, I'm just using figures I already had.
All right. I mean, is this all done? Are you just waiting to air it? Or are you still finishing it up? Or when do you see it being completed and uploaded?
I'm still working on it. It should be within the next month and a half to month, so
All right.
pretty decently soon.
All right. So with this film, are you trying out anything new? Any new techniques? Like what do you see? Where do you see this on your progression towards animation excellence? I suppose. What's new here?
I want to practice just getting more interesting, unique shots, like up close. More wide, medium. Just get a variety of shots. Just scale using a lot more figures and having a very much longer video than compared to my other ones.
Longer video art. Do you have any idea how long it's gonna be? Are you planning to aim for a certain time limit, time span?
Anywhere to like 5, 7, 10 minutes.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So when this goes live, like what do you, or I suppose, what are you planning for after this goes on? Is this going to be a two-part series, or are you planning to move on to your next project?
It's gonna end up being part of a series I'm currently working on.
All right. Is it could you tell us a little bit about that, or is this still in the works?
Still a little bit in the works, kind of like deciding some lore, getting some, just yeah, that kind of stuff together.
And I guess a bit more vague, like what makes this animation different from like the rest of your portfolio? Because with the French and Indian War, there was a lot more melee combat than you'd see, and I think there's some interesting stuff with the set pieces. What makes this really, I guess, different in ways that perhaps we haven't talked about, or just overall, what do you think makes this gonna stand out in your portfolio of animations?
I think yeah, like more kind of combat, melee combat. I've lost stop motions, at least I've seen, don't really have that. So try and get some of that. Just interesting set, very large, interesting set, and that kind of stuff.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like your viewers to know about your channel, or any upcoming projects, or anything you've done in the past, perhaps?
Currently, no, not right now.
Not right now. Well, anyway, thank you so much for coming on. I can't wait to see that animation. It sounds good. I've seen the photos and I've seen some sort of test clips with it. That looks really good, and I can't wait to see it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
So, last but not least, we have the monthly short film challenge. So, uh, every month I'm going to put out a challenge prompt, and everyone will have to, or I suppose everyone who wants to, will make a clip. I suppose not anything long, likely sub 1 minute Army Men film. I suppose you could make one longer if you wanted to, but I understand that people are working on projects, and I'm not looking to take weeks out of someone's schedule to make a seriously long Army Men film, and these are monthly, so they're not gonna. I'm not gonna make these too long. So I guess to give a bit of an example, I've made this little animation here. It doesn't have to be as complicated as this, but something around the lines of this.
Hey!
Alright, so in the next episode, we're going to reveal all of the entries, and I suppose say the best one, and they will get all sorts of credit there. So the constraints, what you have to do to submit yours or to even have yours considered. It must feature army men in some respect, at least somewhere in the film. It must contain a certain key, and so that's what we're going to do to ensure that this film was made during the time frame. I'll put out a key that you have to include visually in your film, not audio, or you have to physically show this specific item or specific key, I suppose, and that's how we can determine that this film wasn't made months ago. And now for the criteria or the values that we're going to judge your video are the conformism to the prompt, the visual quality that includes camera angles and the pixels, I suppose, just how good does the video look, the audio quality, and the story elements. That also includes humor, just anything that makes the film more enjoyable or easier to understand. Now, with that out of the way, here is the prompt. Dumb commanders. So that's, I guess, interpret that however you want. That's just meant to get the ball rolling on some ideas. And now for the key. This is the thing that you need to visually show in your animation to have it be considered, at least some point in the film. And that is the letter Y. So I suppose you could just write that on a sticky note and put it in the background, or paint it on a tank or something. I wouldn't do that, but just put it somewhere visually in the film. And yeah, that's all we have for today. So thank you so much for watching the Army Men podcast. We'll be back next month sometime, and with all those entries and some new people, new games, new interviews, new questions. Thank you so much.